Alright guys, welcome back to my 2023 Honda Civic Hatchback Sport with the 2-liter naturally aspirated engine up front and a 6-speed manual transmission. This car is in Sonic Gray. Today I'm going to take you on a little POV drive on some back roads. The car has about 250 miles on it, so I'm not going to be doing any like full throttle red line pulls yet, but I'm going to give you a little more variety of driving compared to what I did in my last POV video, which was primarily seeing how the car did on the highway. I'm going to adjust my steering wheel up a little higher than normal so that you guys can see the tack without any issues. You start the car, it tells you what seat belts are plugged in, which is interesting, but I don't really care for it. What I'm going to do is turn the brightness all the way up. I'll turn the audio power off so I don't get any copyright issues on YouTube. I will say when you turn the brightness all the way up, you can notice the 60% digital screen to the analog speedometer more noticeably, but still not a huge issue to me. The wipers are strange, which I'll cover in another video because you can't shoot and mist on the windshield. All right, so first thing I like to do when I get in the car, hit the auto engine start stop button off. Got to get in the habit of remembering to do that so the engine doesn't shut off on you when you're stopped at a red light, and then you put the clutch back in and the engine starts while you're trying to release the clutch. It's very weird in a manual car, and I wish they wouldn't include that, but most fuel efficient economy cars, regardless if they're manual or not, will have that button. It helps the manufacturers these days meet all the regulations they're supposed to meet with efficiency and whatnot. So, but hit that button. I know there's modules you can install to permanently disable it and not have a problem with that, but I'm just gonna try to get in the habit of pushing that every time I get in the car. There's other menus you can put on the tachometer here, such as your range and fuel. I actually have not even tanked the car up since I bought it yet. I got 248 miles on it, but you'll see here I'm averaging 30.9 miles per gallon overall on this first tank, which involves a lot of filming and talking about the car while I'm stopped, so it doesn't help, but that makes it very hard to see the tack. If you saw my last POV video, you know I ranted about that quite a bit, so I'm not going to rant about that today. I'm going to leave it on the no content setting, which will, once that message disappears about switching my speedometer to kilometers, will go away, and now we have our traditional layout, which is probably going to be best for you guys to watch and drive this car. I'll do my best to not talk too much in this video, let you hear the car more. Let me know in the comments how I'm doing. If you want me to shut up more, just let me know. I'm still rather new to the whole POV film thing. Huge fan of the Topher and Tedward on YouTube. They're kind of the POV gods of driving cars, and I'll strive to be like them, but I'll never be as good as them. One thing that's worth noting is I don't have any of the climate controls on, so the AC compressor will not kick on during this video at all. So keep that in mind, that it's going to just be the natural engine. About a quarter throttle getting up to speed. Rev match downshift. As you just saw, there's really not a lot of noticeable rev hang in this car. I haven't rung it out to 6,800 RPM yet and done any shifts. Not that that's going to be exciting anyway with the power this car has, but just driving it around normally there, the rev hang isn't bad. I've seen videos of the Sport Touring online, and even the SI, even with its single mass flywheel, having a bit of rev hang with the 1.5T, but this 2.0 seems to have less than both of those cars. This road I'm on right now is it's probably the roughest road I have to go on with work. The pavement is just all heaved everywhere, but this car does a pretty good job at absorbing everything, even with the 18-inch wheels and low-profile tires. It has a much softer suspension, as I've mentioned many times in other videos, than my current setup on my 8th gen. And this has bigger wheels than my 8th gen and actually thinner tires. So that just tells you how much softer the springs are on this car. But it does a very, very nice job at getting me through this road. And I'm sorry if you're getting seasick right now, but I'm doing my best to not have my head shake. But that's just how this road is. So hopefully it gives you a feel of what it's like to drive this car on rough roads. Throttle is a little less responsive than my 8th gen drive-by-wire throttle body. You gotta kind of give it a little more nuts when you downshift and stab the throttle. You gotta push it down pretty much full throttle to blip the throttle to the right RPM, and it takes some getting used to, and I'm still not perfect at it. But I've been reading online that you might be able to, some people have installed like the pedal commander on this car, which makes it feel more like a cable drive throttle body. I may consider doing that. I don't care about getting the car tuned, but I do care about throttle response, so I may try that in the future, but right now I'm just getting used to the factory kind of a little bit of lag with the throttle pedal. So as you just saw there too, that was probably a half throttle run to almost 5,500 RPM. And just shifting, the RPMs do drop noticeably quick for a modern car. And I believe this car probably has a heavier flywheel than the SI, and it still seems like the RPM dropped a little quicker than videos I've seen online of the SI even. So, you know, for a modern car, I've only got 252 miles on this, but it's pretty good as far as being simple and driver focused, and you can feel the inputs. Of course, the steering is a lot more numb now because it's the electronic steering, and it's just so light. The clutch is a lot lighter too. Surprisingly enough, this clutch actually feels about half as light as my 8th gen base model, which has a very light clutch as it is. But when I drive this car and I get back in my 8th gen Civic LXS, the clutch feels like, oh my god, this is so heavy, because I'm not used to it. Your muscle memory remembers the last car you drove. So that's what I will say, is if you have any concerns about a heavy clutch for daily driving, this car is probably as light as they come. So I don't know if the camera's picking it up. It's pretty hazy outside. This is actually like the 3rd day we've been getting smoked out by the Canadian wildfires. Yesterday it was super smoky down here, and the air quality is really bad, so hopefully that goes away soon. But I figured I'd make a POV video today because I wouldn't have any problems with the sun glaring in the camera. So hopefully the quality of this video is satisfactory to you guys. I'm hoping the brightness of all the levels is staying consistent, that I don't have to fight the sunlight all morning, which I normally do. bit of rain droplets now, which I did not expect. Handling is very nice, even though the springs are soft. This car does have larger sway bars than Civics of the past, so you get a little less body roll, but the SI will obviously have less body roll than this. So all in all, like I said, this point of this video was to not do any kind of full throttle real acceleration tests on this car. It's not going to be that exciting even if I did. I try to give you some variety of revving the car out and just shifting gears normally like you would on your daily driving commute. So hopefully you got a feel for that, but maybe in the future I'll give you, once the car has more than 250 miles on it, I'll do some full throttle to redline shifts. But I got pretty close, you know, 5,500, watching the revs drop pretty quick, hitting second gear or third gear there. Was a pleasurable experience. It didn't sit up at 5,500 for 3 seconds while I put it in the next gear and then drop the clutch and the whole car jerked forward because you didn't have the speeds matched. But trying to give you a couple variety of shifts for you, downshifting and upshifting. The shorter ratio final drive in the SI, you know, it's a 4.35, this is a 4.1, will help you have a little more fun between each shift because you're going to have less RPM drop. This car is focused more on the higher, taller gearing for better fuel economy, better daily driving. Highway cruising is great on this car. If you watch my last POV video, at 72, 74 miles an hour, your engine's sitting at 2,700 RPM, which is pretty low for this power plant compared to previous cars Honda made with the manual trans. So I'm stuck behind this incredibly slow 8th gen here. He's not making anything more exciting for me right now in my commute to work, and I'm almost out of back roads here. So I'm gonna wrap the video up here, you guys. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the car. Let me know how you think I'm doing with this kind of style POV drive. I don't have any fancy microphone setup. I'm kind of just using the default microphones in my GoPro Hero 8 Black, but I think they do a good job. So thanks guys always for watching. Please give the video a thumbs up. It really helps me. You guys have been pretty awesome lately with my last few videos at getting them in the algorithm and getting them going. Trying to give you guys this content of this car with this manual trans because, as most people have been commenting, there's no one else on YouTube currently putting up footage of this car in this exact spec. So I hope you guys can find one. I hope you guys can get one at a reasonable price. It's a lot easier to get at a reasonable price than the Civic Si, and probably even, you know, the Sport Touring with a 6-speed manual is just it's even more money than the Si. I couldn't imagine even paying MSRP for a Sport Touring hatch, because you're talking, you know, $35,000 out the door if you pay sticker. So that's just too much money for a Civic in my opinion. This kind of is the sweet spot with giving you just what you need and nothing more. I'll do future reviews going in depth on the radio, kind of the settings and stuff, but long story short, the radio when you pick it up from the dealer or if you test drive one of these cars is pretty awful, but there are some settings I tweaked to make it pretty okay. It's not bad once you tweak the settings on there. It really helped a lot, and I'll share those in a future video showing exactly what settings I have set up on here to make the stereo sound pretty good. But overall, I still think this car is a very, very good value and a great option to choose as a daily driver here in 2023. being that you can get this car at MSRP and it's fuel efficient and forever reliable with the powertrain. So thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.